welcome to the channel, friends. My name is Franco, and today on the homestead, I'll be sharing with you guys some routine maintenance I'll be doing on my 2016 F250 truck, as well as on my Kubota excavator. This video is going to be dedicated to just the truck, and if you want to watch the service on the Kubota, I'll post that in a separate video shortly after this one. So today the truck's going to need oil and filter change, as well as the K&N filter to be cleaned and re-oiled. Same thing for the Kubota. It's going to need oil and filter, as well as a replacement fuel filter. So if that's something that's going to interest you, stay tuned. So here is the truck, and here is the excavator. I drove it up on level surface, that way I could work on it easier, and that way I can check the oil properly. So now I'm going to work in this central area. I got all my tools here in my cart, my filters, my oil, and whatever I need, rags, and that way now I can just work here in this one central area and take care of both pieces of equipment here all at once. I also like to use a step because this truck is so tall that you need to have some kind of assistance to get up in the engine bay and to really see what you're doing. So even though I'm almost 6 feet tall, I still need another, I don't know, what is that, 14 inches? And the first thing I'm gonna do is actually pop the hood on the truck and take care of the air filter, because that's gonna take the longest. That has to dry after I wash it out. So I'm just gonna do that first. We're gonna check out the air filter. This is where the air filter is on this truck. I'm going to loosen up this clamp and remove the mass airflow sensor connection. And then on the inside here, there's a bunch of clamps that swing out to release this whole top piece. There is tabs here, so you have to be careful. You don't want to break these off, so you have to unclamp this to do this right. You guys won't believe this. I'll show you in a second. Alright, so I got the filter out, and as you can tell, it's pretty dirty. It definitely needs to be cleaned. And that's not the surprise though. This is. So a bunch of chipmunks made a home in here, and we're just eating acorns and making a mess. So now I'm going to have to vacuum this out and fully clean this the proper way. I was wondering why I felt that the truck wasn't getting its peak performance, its peak MPGs, and this kind of explains it. So let me get the vacuum and I'll take care of this. Alright, so I vacuumed out all the acorns and crap out of that air box. And now I have the filter. I shook it out and I kind of gently vacuumed it with the bristle head. And now I got all the debris out of there. So now it's time to hit it with some air filter cleaner. This is specifically made for K&N filters. And you just spray this stuff on here and then let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes. And it's going to break down all the crap on there, all the debris and oils and anything that's attached to the filter membrane. And then I can go ahead and rinse it off with a hose. And then I do this actually twice, just to make sure that I get it really clean. So when you rinse these filters out, you want to back flush them. So that means you want to go in the opposite direction of the airflow that was coming through the filter. So So in this case, this was the clean side here, and now was the dirty side. And now I'm just gonna blast it with the hose from the clean side out. So I keep on flushing it till I see the water coming off the filter clear and not, you know, tan or just, you know, discolored in some way. So I'll just keep on blasting this thing until I'm happy with what I see. You want to spread the pleats on it, that way you can get in there and break loose anything that may be potentially stuck. So now I'm going to hit it with the air filter cleaner and let it start its soaking process. You want to get both sides because that oil that's on there is on both sides. It's not just on one side. So you want to hit both sides and get a thorough covering on it. That way the stuff actually works. So I'm going to let that sit for like 10 minutes, and then I'm going to come back and see the progress. So in the meanwhile, I'm just going to go ahead and drain the oil on the truck and possibly even the excavator to get things kind of moving here. So one good thing about this truck is that the drain plug has an O-ring seal. This is a really clever design, and it makes for a no-fuss way of sealing the oil pan. So the next step is just going to be to clean this off and to install the drain plug back in. Drain plug is all cleaned up. Thread it by hand in first. And then I will come in and tighten it with a wrench. So because of the O-ring seal on this drain bolt, you don't have to be so fussy when you tighten this thing down. You can just come in with the wrench and just snug it up, and then you're good to go. You don't have to worry about the metal crush washer or ruining your threads. As long as that O-ring seal bottoms out and makes good contact, and you snug that bolt up, you're fine. So I really like how this truck has that type of drain bolt from the factory. So next I'm going to take out the oil filter, which is right next to the oil pan to the left here, and it's in a really nice, convenient location. Last time I only put this in nice and hand tight and then snugged it like 1/8 of a turn. That way it's not cranked in there and it's not a problem next time around. So what I like to do after I take the oil filter off is just go in and wipe down the whole sealing area and make sure there's nothing in the receiving end of the oil filter. So here's the new filter. I filled it up with fresh Mobil 1 fully synthetic oil, and then I lubricated the gasket here on the front face. This is where it's going to seal up against the receiving end. And all you want to do is make sure this is clean. And then just gently thread this on by hand. It should feel nice and easy and thread on, no resistance. And then when you get it to bottom out, then you want to give it just 1/8 of a turn and snug it up. And that's that. And then I just go in and make sure I clean up everything. And now we're good to go. So this truck here is a 6.2 liter gasoline engine. This is a 2016 model if I haven't said it already. So it takes 7 quarts of oil. Okay, so I'm using Mobil 1 fully synthetic 5W30. So what I like to do is put in about 5 to 6 quarts right off the bat. Let it settle for a little bit, then I'll come in and check the oil level, and then if I need to still add oil, then I'll go ahead and add that last quart. But you don't want to overfill your oil. It can cause excessive crankcase pressure, valve cover pressure, and then it'll blow your gaskets out. So you just want to make sure you're not putting too much oil in the truck. So that's why you always want to start off somewhat lower and then work your way up. So this truck has a strange dipstick. It's not your typical flat dipstick you would encounter in majority of your trucks out there in cars. It is actually helical shaped. Like halfway down, it goes from being flat to being helical, then to being flat again where you would take your reading. So I think I know why they put a helical feature on this dipstick, but I'd like to hear from you guys down below and see what you guys think. So now the truck's sat for a little bit, and now it's time to check the oil level and see where we're at. All right, so to me it looks like we need about another quart and a half of oil to get this right where it should be. All right, the very last step is to oil up the filter. This filter now is completely dry. It took about 2 hours for it to dry in front of a fan. So while I was changing the oil on my truck and excavator and taking care of all that, I had this sitting in front of the fan drying out the whole time. So by the time I was done doing that, now I'm ready to oil this up, and it just works out just fine. Otherwise, you would have to wait overnight. If you didn't have it in front of a fan drying out, you have to wait overnight, or you would have to buy a secondary air filter. That way you could take the old one out, put the new one in that's oiled up, and then clean the old one out, and then have it on standby for the next time around. That's always a good thing to do, is just to buy 2 of these. I might do that in the future, that way I don't have any downtime. I can swap them out and then just go on my way. But anyways, what I want to do is just spray a light coat of oil on both sides of this. This, as you can see, turned white now. From it being like a dark red, now it is white because there's no more oils in there. And now I need to replenish that oil, that way it can trap all the dirt and dust. So this here is the K&N filter oil. So what I want to do is basically spray parallel with the pleats and just get as much spray as I can in there. But like I said, you want to lightly mist it on both sides. You don't want to put a lot. And this being red actually helps you see your coverage. So that's going to aid you in seeing what spots need to have more oil and what don't. So I'm just going to start here. So that should be enough. Now I'm just going to give it 5 minutes for the oil to set in and settle into the cotton gauze filter media. That way it'll work its way through, and then I'm going to go ahead and remove all the excess with a paper towel. All right, there she is. She's all set. Oil changed, filter done. I think we're good to go. All right, I think that's a wrap, guys. Truck is all set. Excavator's all set. Well, guys, that's it for today. I'm really happy I got everything accomplished. And if you have any questions or comments, please place them down below. And if you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. And also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.